Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So for the grammar lesson today, I didn't put in the numbers, but it's lessons 9 and 10. So in the sunnah that we have of doing multiple grammar lessons at the same time, this is lesson 9 and 10. Okay? And again, I combine lessons when they're very similar and when there's not too much information. So just to remind ourselves the stuff that we did, like I said in the vocabulary section, we didn't do too much difficult stuff. It's mostly things that you have to memorize. Types of words. So the three types: ism, harf, and fi'l. And just be able to classify words from those two. Root letters. Root letters are really an art as much as they are a science. A lot of times you just have to look them up, but they help when you have to know similar words. So if you see a similar word twice, you know what the general meaning is. So again, 3 important and rarely 4 important letters. Pronouns. This is just basically a list of stuff you have to know. Okay? Hum, hu, ha, huwa, hiya, anta, antum, ka, ki, kum. All those things. Okay? So that's the list you have to memorize. The concept is muttasil and munfasil, or the attached and detached. Okay? So when do you use attached? When do you use detached? You use detached when you start the thought, and when the pronoun is the subject of your thought. You use attached if you're receiving the action of a preposition, receiving the action of a verb, or possessive, owning. Its book, my pen, my computer. Prepositions. Again, this is mostly just a list to memorize. Okay, ila, fi, some examples. Ila, fi, min, li, qabla, and just go through that list and keep memorizing them over and over. Just keep reading through them. The concept on this one is that the next word sometimes has most of the time, the next ism has a kasra. Has a kasra. Okay? That was supposed to be a kasra, but it doesn't look like a kasra. So, fil kitabi, not fil kitabu, fil kitabi. It doesn't apply to pronouns except for he and him and him. Fihi. And then one other thing, again review the lecture from before. Li becomes la when you attach it to a pronoun. So if any of those things are confusing, review the lecture that I should put up.
So, qabla zalikum.
Dhalika is an interesting kind of. So some of these don't apply. There are exceptions to every rule. So when you have dhalika is not really a pure ism. It's ism ishara. Okay, just like ism damir. It doesn't apply to ism damir. So ism ishara doesn't really apply to either. Okay, so some words they don't apply to, but like a general ism, like a pen, book, tree, that kind of thing, it always takes the kasra. Okay, so like pronouns, like if you say fika, you don't change that to fiki. Or fikum, you don't say fikumi. It's fikum.
So when you say preposition, the next ism has kasra.
That's only normal ism.
Okay, normal ism.
Yes, sir. So now today's lesson we're going to study ism slightly more, and mostly this has to do with normal ism, not ism damir like we did 2 weeks ago. The specific topic is ma'rifa and nakira, definite and indefinite. Okay? To give you some background in English, ma'rifa means definite, and they're words that are usually capitalized in English, or they have the. The translation has the, the. And when you think of them, it's something very specific. You can picture a specific thing in your head when you use ma'rifa. When you picture Zayd, you picture me, or some other Zayd that you're talking about. When you picture the book, when you tell somebody, I read the book yesterday, they know what book you're talking about. It's not something, there are hundreds of books and you just picture a blur of books. You know what book they're talking about because they said the book. Okay? So again, that's what we're talking about today, inshallah. So some of the words that are considered ma'rifa. This is a somewhat comprehensive list. Proper names. Okay, like I said, things like Zayd. Of course. Umar. Your proper name. So your ma'rifa. Thabit. Okay? So these kind of things are proper names. They're ma'rifa. They're definite. The importance of ma'rifa and nakira we'll get to at the end. But for right now, just think. I need to learn how to categorize these things. So any name of a person, it doesn't have to be masculine, obviously. Fatima. That's also ma'rifa. Okay? Pronouns. This can be ism damir, ism ishara, ism mawsula. So, for example, huwa. Because when you're talking and you say huwa, you are referring to a specific person or a specific thing. Huwa can refer to multiple people, right? Huwa can be me, huwa can be the book. But when you use it in a sentence, you use it with both the speaker and the person the speaker is talking to. They both have the image of what you are talking about. Huwa versus kitab. Kitab, it refers to something specific, but there are many things in that category of kitab. So huwa, hiya, hum, and then also hada, alladhi. These are ishara and at the end here, mawsula, and things with alif lam. This is the most common category of ma'rifa. Anytime you add alif lam to any nakira, anything that's nakira is common. Everything else basically. Anything not on this list is indefinite. Okay? And you can make it definite by adding alif lam. Again, like if I say iqra kitab, read a book. You can read any book. I don't have a picture of what book you're going to read. I don't know what book you're going to read. If I say iqra al-kitab, al-kitab, read the book, then you know I'm talking about some specific book. So adding al to any word. So for example, kitab by itself is nakira. It just means a book or book. You can make it definite by saying al-kitab. And obviously you can't just choose. If you're making a sentence, you can't just say, okay, I feel like making it definite, so I'll make it definite. There's certain times where you make something definite. And again, we'll talk about when that is, okay? Nouns in possessive clauses, possessive phrases, I should say. Anytime you have possession, the thing that is being possessed is definite. The teacher's book, which book? Even though it doesn't have the book, you know which book is the one that belongs to the teacher. Have you read his book? That's also possessive. For example, kitabuhu. Right? There's no alif lam, but it's still definite. Kitabuhu. His book. Or anything with harf nida. This is a rare category. Ya. Ya or ya yuha. Okay? So when you say ya, you use this normally with people. Things that refer to people. Ya mudir, or principal, or manager. Ya mudir. Because you're calling out to someone specific. You don't just call out ya mudir. You're calling to someone specific. So the most common again is this one, and then these two right here are probably equally common. Okay? Proper names are kind of obvious. Proper names are definite, yeah. They refer to specific people. Harf nida comes very rarely. Things with alif lam and this, I would say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3 right here. Okay, in terms of difficulty of, or common, just how common it comes. Or maybe the other way around, I don't know, pronouns probably come more. But anyway, these 3 are the most common. Okay, so let me give you some examples. These things are nakira. Okay, and I'm just writing from the chapter in the book. Alam, Rasul, Shajar, Bayt. So these refer to just random things, right? Also, describing ism that describe. These are just actual objects. But like kabir,
Is it qalam or salam?
qalam, kabir, saghir. Okay, so these are like sifat. Okay. So then this is nakira on this side. Ma'rifa would be Ibrahim. Ar-Rasul. Absarihim. Why is Absarihim Ma'rifa? This side is Ma'rifa.
Because
Ma'rifa. Nakira. So I said two things. I said pronouns are always definite. But I'm talking not about him. Him is definite, yes, but absar is also definite. Why is absar also definite? Possessive, very good. It's possessive. It's being possessed. Their sights. Their sights. Okay, so hum is ma'rifa because of the pronoun. Absar is ma'rifa because it's being possessed. Not by jinn again, but possessed in a possessive clause.
But absar in itself is not my.
So if it was just absar, you put it here. Just absar is in this category. Absar. Sight. It could be anyone's sight. Their sight, however, is specific. It's their sight. It's one thing. Their sight. Okay? So that's some examples here. Let's see if I have any more. Also, possessive doesn't have to be just with pronouns. We didn't study this yet. We'll study this in the next 2 weeks max, after the exam, inshallah. But you can make possessive without pronouns. For example, if you want to say book of the teacher, you say Kitab al-Mudarris. So instead of putting the pronoun at the end, Kitab who, you can just put the actual noun there. Kitabul Mudarris. And just like this, you don't put tanween here. Because absaruhum or absarihim, depending on where it comes. Kitabul Mudarris or Kitabul Mudarris. Okay? So we didn't learn this. We did not learn this, but we will, inshallah, very soon. So, but that's also possessive. So this kitab is definite. This is also obviously definite because of alif lam.
But both of them are noun.
So we all, again, nakira and ma'rifa only talk about ism, the category of ism. Okay? So Rabbus Samawat. That's another example of this construction here. Rabbu as-Samawat, Lord of the sky. Okay? That's basically the major concept. Now, again, like I said, I have to tell you when do we use which. When you start off the sentence, you have to know what you're talking about. It's very second nature in English. The important part is once you start using definite, everything that you use with that has to be definite. All things that describe that noun, all things that relate to that noun, all the ism that relate to that noun have to be definite. It can be very simple. Al-Mudarris al-Tawil, the tall teacher. It can be Al-Mudarris Tawil. That would be the teacher is tall. I mean, it's a correct sentence, but you have to know that it's not an adjective. It's not a sifa anymore. Okay? Then you have, or it's an adjective, but it's not. It's a full sentence versus just being a clause. Alladhi. The more very confusing part is alladhi. You always use things with alif lam because alladhi is definite, like we saw. Huwa, hum, huma, hun. The regular pronouns are definite. Alladhi is also definite. So when you say al-kitab, al-ladhi, you don't use ma, for example. Ma can be used like as an indefinite kind of pronoun. Al-ladhi is used with al-kitab, so if you want to say the book that, you don't, or the book which has such and such, you don't say al-kitab ma, you say al-kitab al-ladhi, it's definite. Okay, so with definite things, you use other definite things. With indefinite things, you use other indefinite things. And that's basically the concept. Okay, so that's fairly simple.
That's why we have like Zalika al-Kitab.
Exactly, Zalika al-Kitab. You can say Zalika Kitab, that means something different though. Perhaps. It's not the best example. You can say Zalika Kitab, that is a book. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ, that is the book.
So it's basically
Or that
specifically pointing to that book.
So, I mean, here's, again, next week, after coming back from the exam, we'll learn the difference between ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ and ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ. So I guess I'll wait to explain that till then. One is sifa mawsuf, like a clause, one is a full sentence. It's just that you should always have in your mind just an idea of is this definite, is it not? So when I put sentences together, I know. Right now it's not very clear because we don't know where to use them. Inshallah, I'll show you where to use them in the future. But at least if you have that idea, you won't make a mistake once we learn where to use these ones. Okay? So that's one last thing. Sorry, one more thing that's in this lesson. The i'rab. What is i'rab? The case marking. Just like we said, after preposition, you have a kasra. For every definite ma'rifah, you never put tanween. Almost never. Almost never put tanween. So it's almost always singular. Okay? Single dhamma, single fatha, single kasra. With alif lam, for example, you put al-kitabu, not al-kitabun. You say kitabun, al-kitabu. Kitabullahi. You don't say kitabun Allahi. Book of Allah. So that's the possessive type. Hada, huwa, hiya, dhalika, obviously none of those have tanween. So, etc. Okay? So you just, the only exception, pretty much, the major exception, is when you use proper names. Okay? Proper names, sometimes they have single, sometimes they have double. They are singular if basically they don't have a root. And they are double if they do. So it's like Zaydun, Muhammadun, Fatima. I mean, it might have a root, but all feminine names are pretty much with the single. Yeah. I mean, again, the exception. So with exception, there's certain classes of words that never take tanween, but usually the nakira will have tanween. Baytun. Yeah. Okay. And so again, some of these, Ibrahim is single, for example, Ibrahim. That's, you never put double, you just keep it like that. So again, this is the one exception, but otherwise, Ma'rifa, just as a general rule, Ma'rifa, single, nakira, tanween. Ma'rifa, single, nakira, tanween. Okay?
Is that Arab or Arab?
Yeah, Arab. Arab is something else. Okay? Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.